Welcome to the Top Dog Mindset Podcast, where we unlock the secrets of running a successful dog training business. I'm your host, Kevin, joined by my co-host, Angel. Together, we bring you expert insights, inspiring stories, and practical tips. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, we're here to provide you with the necessary information to build a thriving dog training company. So relax, join us with a cup of coffee as we explore the Top Dog Mindset Podcast.
All right, welcome in everybody to another episode of the Top Dog Mindset Podcast. So this is going to be a quick one today, just because I had an interview with a client that ran a little bit over that I'm super excited for you guys to all check out. It's actually one of Angel's really good friends, Jenny, and she's been on before. And she moved her business from North Carolina to Texas. And it's just a really cool kind of story, just because she's been able to, grow a business in two different places. But so this is going to be a quick episode. So we're just going to kind of do like a check-in here, and I'm just going to kind of see what's going on for Angel and stuff like that. And, we'll see where this conversation goes. So without further ado, Angelica, how are you doing today? What's going on for you?
I'm doing great. It's been a really good day. Good Friday. And yeah, I'm excited to see. You told me you were going to ask me some questions. And so, yeah.
That was the question.
I'm totally unprepared.
That was the question. How are you doing? Tell everyone how you're doing.
I'm doing great. I'm actually
going to give everyone the response you always give to me, which is good.
Good, period. Move on.
Yeah.
No, but it's been a good day. I am actually going to be going to see Jenny today, the one that you did the interview with. So that's exciting. Another one of my really good friends is also another one of our clients, and I'm going to be seeing her this weekend as well. It's been a few months. So
just so everyone knows, another Angelica. And I just want to point something out real quick. I've never met a single person named Angelica in my life.
And now
all of a sudden I do. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm excited. It's going to be a nice little reunion this weekend.
Do you know other Kevins?
I do.
Who's
feel
this
like
other Kevin?
Well, first of all, we had an old client long ago named Kevin. I knew a few Kevins that I went to school with. I knew a Kevin that spelt his name with a Q.
Okay.
A couple weeks ago, I think I sent you a message and I spelt your name with a Q, but I didn't give any backstory after that. So you probably read it and was like, what is this?
Yeah, I just thought you were trolling me. Yeah, it sounds familiar. Yeah.
Yeah, it was with a Q and with a Y.
Yeah.
Basically the equivalent of Angelica spelt the way that I spell it.
Yeah, your name's like a psychopath. Like, it's insane how you spell your name. There's like an X in there. Or there's like a V somewhere. It's really impossible. I remember the first time looking at your name and being like, what does that say? And then I was like, I spelt it out. I was like, oh, it's Angelica.
Yeah, that's probably what most people think when they look at it.
It's a unique name. A lot of people don't have that name, Yeah. Is it a family name? Do you have anyone else in the family with that name?
No.
Your mom just liked it.
Yeah, my mom just wanted to be a little bit different. Yeah. Like my little sister's middle name is Rain, and it's spelled Rayne.
Oh, that's pretty.
Yeah, her first name is Emma, so it's pretty normal name. But when my mom was picking out her middle name, I was like, well, you can't just like leave me with this wild name. Like, you got to do something crazy with it. So I actually came up with the spelling for Rain, and she was like, cool, we'll go with it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so funny picking a name for your kids. I don't know if you felt this way, but it was very hard for us. Like, we were both times, more so the first time with our son Ben in the hospital, like we were between two different names. And it's funny, we kept going back and forth and we're like, what is your name? And the nurses took him away to put him in the nursery and, do everything that they do with a newborn. And they came back and they were like, we decided that, you guys were taking too long and his name is Ben. And we're like, okay, he's Ben.
Wait,
and that's basically how he got his name. Yeah. It was between Jack, which is my brother's name, and Ben. But now I look at him, I'm like, you're totally not a Jack. You're 100% a Ben.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know him as Ben.
Yeah, that's why. If they said he's Jack, I still think we would have leaned more towards Ben, but Phoebe we were more sold on. But Ben took some time. Did you guys struggle to like pick a name? Because I remember going through and we had the app and we were like swiping through it with like different names and stuff like that. And every single time a name came up, I'm like, I can't name him Michael. I knew a Michael that peed his pants in the first grade,
I know. It's hard when you already know people with that name because you don't want to associate like these weird memories with it. But
yeah,
I actually had Harper's name picked out It was a different name, but I had it picked out for years, like before I ever had kids. And I was like, whenever I have a girl, this is going to be her name. I'm not going to share it because I might actually use it one day, but I had this name picked out. But then as soon as I found out I was pregnant with a girl, then I was like, it just doesn't fit her. Like I hadn't even met her yet, but I was like, this name just doesn't fit her.
You just know,
So,
you know, you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we decided on Harper. Lincoln's name, that's also one that I had picked out before I found out that I was pregnant. And interesting fact, I picked out Lincoln for the baby regardless if he was going to be a boy or a girl.
Mhm.
Actually, I was told that he was a girl initially, so I'm like, cool, I'm gonna have two girls, Harper and Lincoln. And then like a week later, I had another ultrasound, and they're like, oh wait, actually, he's a boy.
There it is. He's
Yep.
a boy.
So kept the same name, but
Yeah. So he wasn't named after our 16th president, is what you're
no,
telling me?
nope, he was
Okay.
not.
I know you're such a historian, historical buff that, that would have been right on brand for you.
You know what? But I do actually like the name Abraham. I'll never be able to use it.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever met an Abe, but
I know
that'd
a
be pretty
few.
sweet. You know two Abes?
I know a few.
Really? Wow.
Yep.
That's cool. Yeah, that's not you don't hear that much anymore, I feel like,
Yeah.
It's like Ebenezer. I have an Ebenezer in my family somewhere way back when, and we always joke that like that's a family name and someone's gonna get that one day. But you know what's funny? My name, my mom wanted to name me Kevin, and my dad's boss at the time, his name was Kevin. And so he was so staunchly against it because he's like, everyone's just gonna give me a hard time that I'm clearly sucking up to the boss and like naming my son after him, but they just went with it anyway, and he just got roasted for it. But it's all good.
Yeah. At some point, you just have to like forget the fact that you know people with that name and just like ignore
Yeah.
what other people say, because like I know so many people with so many different like unique names, and like friends, old colleagues, old like people that I grew up with or went to school with. We have tons of clients. So someone is bound to have a name that like you want to name your baby.
Yeah, but it's so funny. Anybody can make any name really cool or destroy the name. Like
Yeah.
Michael is the perfect example of that. You
Yep.
can be somebody who just was like, the kid who peed his pants in the first grade, or you can be Michael Jordan, And it's like it's unbelievable how that works. And to one person that name is like, that's cringy. The other person like, my best friend is named that,
Yeah. It's interesting.
It's fascinating how that works. Maybe not that fascinating, but to me it is, the things I find interesting. All right, well, we got 5 minutes. And so here's the next question for you. Okay. I got something on my mind. I have an answer for this. So I'm trying to catch you off guard here. What is something this week that you found yourself talking with a client about that you think would be helpful for the people to know, for the dog trainers listening to this?
Well, it's more of like a this month thing, being that we
Okay.
are still in the first month of the year. I would say more specifically this week for me, because it's something that I've been having more conversations with our clients about this week specifically, is starting a re-engagement campaign. That was one of my goals for this year, with trying to get our clients more on board with, and making it a point to just like be more strategic about it throughout the year versus having a mindset, and not saying that everyone has a mindset like this behind it, but just to kind of like compare the two, versus having the mindset of, let me do a re-engagement campaign because I'm a little slow right now, or I'm struggling to bring dogs in, or I need to just get in like one more dog. Let me try re-engagement campaign. Now it's still a good option, in those situations, but I think like if you are just like more prepared and doing it more strategically and making it a point to do one every month or twice a month, whatever you think is necessary, is going to be helpful like throughout the year. I even think like doing, and I know I've mentioned this before a time or two or three, I think even doing like a Christmas in July kind of deal, where like it's like middle of the year, but you're offering a deal for people who want to book their program out in, during the holidays. I think that's more helpful for people who are like, we're traveling for the holidays this year. We're going to be out of state for, a week in December. Usually people are, getting ahead with starting to book boarding and stuff like that. So why not just book a board and train, get your dog trained while you're at it? So like I said, that's a goal for me, to try to get more of our clients on board with that. and just make it more of like a habit, and eventually maybe create like a long-term re-engagement campaign, which is also something that we can do for our clients. But yeah, so we had quite a few people that started out with like a New Year's deal. And about now, obviously, we're just days away from February. So now we're getting into like a Valentine's Day special. So just trying to like help people with thinking ahead. I'm being mindful of it as far as like where we're at on the calendar. Did we send one out for this month? Should we send out one for next month? And blah, blah, blah. People don't always think about it, or they're not in the habit of like keeping it in the forefront of their mind. So that's what I'm trying to do for them.
That's really good advice. Yeah, I think a lot of times people wait until it's too late to start marketing. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like don't wait until you're like in a really bad position and like I desperately need a dog. It's like do it to book yourself out further and further and further, and let it be a constant in your business, not something that you turn on and off. You know, it's not a faucet. It should be something that's just like a stream that's constantly flowing and always bringing in leads. And that way you just never run into that problem of, okay, I don't have anything for the next week or so.
Mm-hmm.
Something that's been on my mind is a couple different things. So, the first thing is you cannot do everything yourself in your business. And as I kind of like reflect more on this, I feel like there's been times, and I feel like this is still helpful advice for some people because some people are more capable of pushing beyond like this level of uncomfortability by themselves in their business and going further on their own. But I think there's a lot of people out there who really stagnate and their business gets really hard and they get resentful of the business or they get burnt out. That's the term that everyone uses, like I'm burnt out. But I think that like another way of saying that is like I'm kind of resentful of my own business. And I think that one of the best ways to remedy that is hiring somebody. And so
Mm-hmm.
I really just think that you can't do everything by yourself. Like that's the bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of us could really benefit from bringing somebody in sooner rather than later. And this is something that for me, I fought for a long time until somebody hit me over the head with it. Like, dude, you have the extra revenue in the business. Get somebody in, even if it's just part time, to help out with this task here or this task here, and it'll help you grow your business. So I was so focused on, can I afford it? Instead of, what is this going to do for the business? Like, how is this going to help us grow to that next goal that I really want to get to? And just
Mm-hmm.
being realistic with yourself about, can I get to that next goal without making a hire? And if I can, do I like the way that it looks? Like do I like the way that it looks and feels in order for me to get to that next goal by continuing to do it all by myself? And so I
Mm-hmm.
think that this is something that's just been on my heart, and I really feel like there's a lot of people who need to be pushed to do this because there's a lot of fear surrounding it. I totally get it. Like it's scary. What if they don't do a good job? What if it doesn't work? What if I can't pay them? Like all this stuff. But personally, like I'm a believer in God and I think that God always provides for you. I think that, if you even just look at it from the perspective of like you believe in positive energy and the universe or something like that, like I think that even with that philosophy, if you put good intentions out there and you tell the universe, that you think that you're ready for this and this next step, usually you're rewarded for that. And all
Mm-hmm.
of my clients that I've ever worked with that I really encourage to do this. And, Jenny is somebody that I was just talking to about this, and she brought on somebody to help with kennel tech responsibilities. You have that person and they finally start helping you, and you're like, man, I don't know why I waited so long on this. And so I would just tell a lot of you guys that if you're feeling stressed out, you're feeling burnt out in your business, this is the only logical conclusion to get yourself really long term into a place where you're not going to feel like that. There are things you can do short term that are band-aids and can help, like raising up your prices, taking on less clients, all that stuff. But long term, like if you're feeling burnt out, the problem is always going to be there if you continue to try and do everything yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know we've talked a ton on hiring, but like people get so scared to do it. And so I mean I think we both usually recommend like starting off small, whether that be something like what Jenny is doing, just hiring for kennel tech work, or hiring like a family member who just needs some extra money to help answer the phone, something smaller like that. Not to say like those are small things, because as trainers we know like all those like little tasks are eventually what aids in leading to burnout. So they're very helpful, but it's like the smaller, I guess in some cases, more affordable hires. And I think like starting off with that can help with it maybe not being so scary.
100%. All right. Well, we're going to wrap things up. Before we go, I think 3 quick questions. This is rapid fire for you. Okay. Okay. 1, if a tree falls in a forest and no one is there to hear it, does it make a sound? Okay. 2, do ghosts exist?
Yes.
3, do aliens exist?
Yes.
Okay. Does Bigfoot exist, or did he ever exist?
I think yes.
I think yes too. And I
Yeah.
actually have some like scientific evidence to back this up. So
I don't
you-
personally, but I've gone down rabbit holes and I just can't figure out how to debunk any of them. So I'm going with yes.
I say yes on Bigfoot because I'm not saying he's walking amongst us now, but if you go and look up, I encourage everyone to do this. If you go look up, I'm going to butcher the pronunciation, but I believe it's Gigantopithecus. Gigantopithecus was like an 8 to 10 foot tall primate that existed a long time ago, like hundreds of thousands of years ago. I think that the dating on them is a little bit like fuzzy exactly when they went extinct, if they ever did.
Mm-hmm.
But they're like 8 to 10 feet tall primates that walked upright. And if you look at it, you go, that's Bigfoot,
Yeah.
you know? And so like, it could certainly be that like somebody just saw one of those like hanging around like way after they thought they went extinct. And you're like, oh yeah, that's where that existed, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like pterodactyls too. Like people have this idea of like dragons could have never existed. It's like, you know, I'm way out of my depths here talking about this stuff. If there's any paleontologists listening to this, they're probably like, this guy's a moron. But, you know, a pterodactyl, you know, it's like their wingspan was like 50 feet wide or something insane like that. Like that's a dragon.
Yeah, pretty much.
You know?
Yeah.
So I just figured I'd throw that out there. So I know this
Thank
is
you.
a dog training mindset podcast, but this is really the more important stuff that needs to be discussed anyway.
Yeah.
Well, with that being said, we're going to wrap things up for the day. So this was a quick little episode, and I hope you guys got some value out of this. And if there's anything you want to hear us talk about, just let us know, and we could certainly talk about that on the next podcast. I'm doing a kind of a segment on a different video that I recorded, and I think we're going to do more of this where I'm answering questions and just like posts and stuff like that that people put in our group. So make sure to go give us some feedback there, and that way we know what you guys want to hear about and what we can talk about. So with that being said, we're going to wrap things up. We have to run over to our ads meeting with our team, but I appreciate all the support, appreciate all you guys, and we will see you guys all very soon in the next one. See you guys.
Bye, guys.